Heavy Transport Models has commissioned Conrad to make this model of an MAN TGX tractor and Dole 5-axle semi-trailer in the colours of Affolter, a Swiss haulage company. It comes in standard Conrad packaging, which has no details about the real machine at all, and there's no instructions for this model either. Inside the box, the model is contained within foam rubber, and there's just a few parts to it, which is the trailer itself, the tractor unit, and also a bag of small parts such as door mirrors for the tractor. On getting the review model out, you can see that one of the ramps on the trailer has in fact broken off because the pin itself is broken. But this was quickly corrected by Conrad, who sent some spare pins for the model. To fit the aerials and mirrors to the tractor, the first thing you need to do is to separate the parts, and that's best done with a sharp modelling knife. And when the parts are separated, you can begin to fix them. First thing to do with the mirrors is just to assemble the passenger side mirror, because that's got an extra mirror that fits on the front. And when that's assembled, you can just push it into the holes in the cab, and it's a reasonable fit so it stays in place. With the door mirrors fixed, you can then fix the two roof aerials. You might need to trim the ends of the roof aerials a little bit to get them into the holes, and if you use a pair of tweezers you can push them into place. Lastly, there's an optional second towing hitch which you can push into a hole at the rear, and that's an easy push-in fit. Underneath the MAN, the detailing is typical Conrad, with some plastic elements to the transmission, and the steering is modelled for functionality rather than accuracy. The cab looks pretty good with the beacon light bar on the roof. The lights at the bottom have lenses, but unfortunately there's no number plate. Overall, it does look good in the Affolter colour scheme, and there are some decent sharp graphics. At the rear, the plastic wheel arches look realistic, and there are some nice plastic lenses for the lights. Moving to the Dole trailer, the chassis looks the part with some good structure and some reasonable detailing. The top of the gooseneck is all metal with plastic wheel chocks and a couple of spare wheels. The trailer deck surface is strongly textured, but there's no reflective yellow line down the deck edges. At the rear, the ramps have a good structure, the lights are painted, but it could do with some more detailing, such as number plates at least. For the features, we'll look at the MAN tractor first, and as you'd expect, it rolls well in a straight line. The rear axles have a little bit of movement in them, which could be taken to represent suspension, but the steering mechanism at the front is very good, and you can get an extremely hard lock on the steering, and it rolls reasonably well with the steering hard over. The tractor also has a tilting cab, but it won't tilt far. In fact, you can't display it in a posed position, and it's best not to try to tilt it further because some damage may result. The 5-axle Dole trailer certainly rolls along well in a straight line, and although they're not sprung, there is a degree of suspension movement in the axles. But the best feature is the link steering, which really works very well on the model. All 5 axles are linked together, so if you turn the rear ones you can see that all the rest turn, and it's fully proportional with the rear axles turning more than those at the front, so if you set them steered, then the trailer traces out a realistic arc. Another feature is that there are a couple of plastic stabiliser feet at the front, and they just pull down, and then you can use them to support the trailer if it's not connected to the tractor. Similarly, at the rear there are 2 stabiliser feet, and they should be pulled down when the trailer is being loaded over the ramps, so the rear axle isn't stressed. And the 2 ramps are quite neat because they open up and fold down and provide a good basis for loading the trailer with a piece of plant. The next thing to do is to join up the tractor and the trailer, and that's just a simple push fit of the kingpin of the trailer into the 5th wheel on the tractor, and when that's made, then you've got a secure connection and you've formed your whole vehicle. There's no limit on the articulation on the model because the trailer can go right round on the 5th wheel of the tractor. Another good feature is that the trailer is extendable so that the overall model becomes an impressive 46 centimeters long. Another possibility that you have for posing the model is that there is a pin which allows the gooseneck to be separated from the trailer. So once that pin is pulled out, there's a kind of a jointed connection between the 2 parts of the model, and you can separate that, and then that gives you a different way that you can show it. Another feature of the model is that the deck features some pull-out width extenders on both sides, which you can just pull out as you can see, but the model doesn't include any planks to go on those extensions, which is a little bit of a pity. You can also display the model with deck posts, and they just slot into holes along the deck edges. They mostly fit reasonably well, but sometimes you'll find one that's a little bit loose in the hole, and then you'll have to work a little bit to get it to stand up straight. The last feature on the model is that the ramps on this version are removable because they're held in place with plastic pins, and that's different to earlier versions which were actually riveted on. So you have the option to display the model without ramps if that's what you want to do. This is a rare model by Heavy Transport Models with only 100 pieces made. It looks good in Affolter's colours, and the many features of the Dole trailer give you plenty of posing possibilities. It's easy to recommend it.